There you go.
I heard someone on the Zoom.
Didn't get a chance. That's 2 seconds. Pretty good. I'll work it out. Even the lines are in progress.
Okay, because I would do what you do want to.
Good, other than spitting all over myself.
Yes, sir. Did you put this together? You join us? I've got like 5 of these in my favorite. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Oh, I don't know what you want me to do, but. Yeah, somebody's disconnect the minutes. That's a group effort there. Better every year now. Trying to keep up with you. We don't want to do that. If everybody's ready, I guess we could start. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everybody would put their phone on silent until we rise. We'll do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, I'd ask that you join our meeting tonight and help us to get through the many things that we have before us, guide us and keep us on the right path. Amen. All right, some of you may have noticed we don't have a clerk today. She's feeling a little under the weather and she's helped us out. She's actually on Zoom now, I believe. Yes. So we need her, we'll have her, but all right, so grab my pen here. Do a quick roll call. Michelle Jackson. Dave Koss. Bob Underhill. Here.
Jim left you here and Christine is absent. All right, do we have any disclosure conflicts? Michelle, anything?
No.
No?
No, I don't.
Anybody about, no? All right, everybody's had a chance to look over the agenda. Anything lacking? I put this together myself today, so a lot of help from Margaret there. All right, I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda then. Do I have a second?
To call to order. The agenda.
You wait for I was waiting on a second for anybody to, okay. All in favor of approving the agenda? All right. This is kind of unusual here. We have a request for one of our trustees to speak before the meeting. He hasn't enlightened any of us here as to what he might be speaking about, but I'll go ahead and give him the floor for a few minutes.
Okay. Well, first of all, I don't have to inform or enlighten you ahead of the meeting. It's done at the meeting. Okay, it doesn't have to be done between meetings. It's done at the meeting in front of the public. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about, I make a motion. Then second it regarding board meeting rules, guidelines, and policy. Okay. So,
None of us have seen that. Is it possible for any of us to have that?
definitely, make copies for everybody.
And
So I'm gonna go over this item by item.
yes.
The agenda meeting shall be designed to not exceed 2 hours.
We understand that.
Oh, okay, well, you're gonna really understand it when I'm done reading. No meeting shall exceed 2.5 hours. After a 2-hour meeting, it may be extended by 30 minutes if approved by the majority of board members. Any board member shall have the option to leave any meeting that exceeds 2 hours or 2.5 hours if extended by majority vote. Motions and or votes are not allowed after the aforementioned 2-hour or 2.5 hour time limit has expired. So let's have discussion about that first paragraph.
Dave, you're not running the meeting here, okay?
Well,
You said you had something you wanted to tell
Jim,
everybody.
neither are you.
Well,
And if the last meeting is any example.
you know what? You haven't been to a meeting prior to this board taking place
How do you know?
because I've been to them all.
Okay, so is there other way that I could be at a meeting? Without being physically present?
Well, yeah, you could be on Zoom.
Okay.
Right.
So then, do you wanna,
I just don't know that a meeting is the right place to discuss meeting rules.
well, no, it is the right place. And that's how it's taught by the
Okay, but
MTA.
not the first thing on our agenda.
Doesn't
And
matter.
I go to MTA stuff all the time,
No,
Dave, and I know
yeah,
how to run a meeting.
We're not gonna have a meeting like the one that.
We've had
Well,
tons of 4-hour meetings before you got here, Dave.
It doesn't matter.
Okay?
don't wanna
I don't
have
wanna
those-
have 4-hour
No, no, no.
meetings either.
Here's the thing, we don't wanna have those kind of meetings anymore. We don't
I
wanna
agree
have,
with you.
we don't wanna have chaos. Like the town hall meeting that you had last month.
Okay.
That's unacceptable.
Okay, Dave. Go ahead.
Okay, so I asked you. First paragraph,
There's nothing I
Next
disagree with.
pardon me,
There's nothing I disagree with there.
okay,
Right out of the MTA book.
well, that's not where I
Pretty
got it,
close.
but anyways, Michelle,
I agree with it.
okay, how about you, Bob?
And this is one of the goals that I have talked to with Jim, I've talked to with Michelle, as to we should It's one of our goals to get our meetings, maybe 45 minutes. You know? And come in, cut the grass, pay the bills, pay the bills.
Okay. So the second paragraph says, public comment shall be limited to 2 minutes per person and only allowed during the designated public comment period.
It's 3 minutes.
It's whatever's decided.
Okay, well,
Like MCA suggests 2, other people 3. We can always start with 2. We can modify this after it's been voted on in the past. If in the future, it needs to be.
I have no feelings with that. I think the public should be able to speak what they need to speak about. They're paying for this community.
Well, if you wait,
That's
till-
just my opinion.
that's fine, Bob, but if you wait until later on in here, it addresses that. Okay, and there's public comment after the meeting. The focus, the point of this is to get the meeting going. Allow people to talk. They're encouraged to bring a letter. Especially if they can't be here, or if what they have to say exceeds the 2 or 3 minutes, whatever we agree to. Okay. So, let me finish reading the second paragraph and then we'll have comment on it. Public comment should be limited to 2 or 3 minutes per person, whatever we decide. And only allowed during the designated public comment periods. Under no circumstances shall a non-board member be allowed to talk, raise their hand, make noises, and or interfere with the board meeting. In the event that a non-board member violates this rule, any one board member shall have the authority to contact law enforcement and have any non-board member removed from the meeting for interference or conduct that violates this rule.
What was that look for, Big Dick?
Pardon me?
I think there's a point of order, Supervisor. We're not following the agenda.
Oh, yes, yeah.
You're asking for things and.
Listen, you're not part of this meeting.
Oh, yes.
No, you will be in the public part, but you're not gonna interfere. You wait until it's the public time for you to talk, but you're not gonna interrupt this board meeting, like you did last month.
So you're interrupting right now because there is a resolution passed by a board, Clearwater Township Board, that says this information you're covering should have been to these board members in weeks in advance, so that they can bring themselves up to par and discuss these things. You don't drop it and you don't do it now.
Okay, good, that's good for later, but not for now. Okay, you're not gonna interrupt, Jeff. You're not gonna interrupt when I'm in the middle of something during a board meeting. And that's all there is to it. Get used to it.
Okay. Or-
I don't know where all this anger is coming from, Dave. This is the people we
yeah.
serve.
Okay, so members of the public are encouraged to submit a letter. If their concerns will take more than the 2 or 3 minutes that we agree on. Said letters will be reviewed and discussed by all 5 board members during the next regular board meeting, or any meeting if agreed to by majority vote of board members. Time for public comment, if not used, cannot be transferred, split, deferred, and or added to the 2 or 3 minute time limitation of any other public member. All right, so let's have discussion on that paragraph.
I think it's totally unnecessary.
Well, I mean, I think there should be guidelines to the board meeting, and I mean, even though, you know, it's an interruption, I do agree that we should all have the information ahead of time. A lot of the information in the last board meeting, we didn't have ahead of time. So, I get that because, as it was pointed out, you know, it was apparent that not all 5 board members were, you know, abreast of what was going on in the board meeting. So, I do to some degree. I also agree that, you know, we do serve the community. And there should be, you know, ample time in our meeting for them to be able to speak and discuss, you know, what they have on their mind during whatever, you know, time is designated for them. So, yeah, I mean, and if it's flexible, you know, that, if it doesn't work, I mean, if we're flexible and work together as a board to keep the meetings, you know, to a, reasonable time. I mean, I'm for that. I mean, 4 hours is a long time. I think people kind of fall off in the meetings, so.
I don't think any of us want 4-hour meetings, and I think our goal is to reduce it. Better, we're just getting ramped up, but
I think a policy suggestion should have been presented to the board prior to the meeting so that it could be reviewed and then discussed, rather than presenting it at last minute and expecting to go through it. This is not the proper order for this.
Who's speaking right now?
Christine Johnson, of course.
Okay, so Christine, how was that, that you bring everything? You provide us with the agenda and paperwork like last minute, and that's been that way for the last 2 meetings that you were present at.
Everything that I provide for the meeting has been emailed to everyone on the board.
Except for me.
No, you've gotten everything. It's been forwarded to every person on the board as soon as I get it.
Not
And
true.
then for the board meeting, I make a packet of everything that has come in through the month.
Okay, so that's not true. And what I'm doing here is in total conformance with MTA guidelines.
The township not too long ago, previous board passed a resolution about board meeting rules. It's there.
So it doesn't stand forever.
Yeah.
Okay, it can be, a motion can be made. And
So do you have a resolution or something that we're gonna, vote on here? I mean,
yeah, we're gonna vote on this, okay, if you let me get through it. So. You had comment, Michelle? Do you have comment on that?
I think it's unnecessary the way it's
Okay, how about you,
written.
Bob? I don't have. Okay. To conserve time, expedite the start of the agenda on the board meeting and prevent tactics aimed to run the clock out, obstruct and prolong the time designated only for board members. Board members will limit their reply to opening public comment in 1 minute, and if necessary, defer the remainder of the reply to the public comment period that follows the end of the agenda board meeting. This way, we don't get tied up into conversation at the beginning of the meeting, like the last meeting, and end up with 4-hour meeting. Any discussion on that from you? Comments, pro or con?
I don't think we should be limiting board members to 1-minute responses.
We're not limiting them to 1 minute, we're limiting them to 1 minute in the beginning and then dealing with the rest of it at the end. There are board members, there are board meetings that have 1 public comment period at the end of the meeting. They don't have 2 like you do.
Mhm.
So we're providing 2 different opportunities. We're still keeping that intact. So for the 4th paragraph, after the pledge of allegiance and opening public comment period, and before the first agenda item, each board member shall have a 5-minute time period to talk, use the time allotment as desired, be allowed to defer, split their time, or add it to the time of other board members. This provision does not limit board members' time to talk, make motions, and participate in discussions after the agenda board meeting is underway. Instead, it guarantees them a time allotment before the first agenda item and prevents them from unfair treatment, being obstructed or silenced by a fellow board member.
I don't think we've ever silenced the board member.
Well, okay, yeah, Michelle, do you have any comment on this or any comment on that paragraph?
Well, at the last meeting, I mean, did you get an opportunity to talk about your stuff at the last meeting? I did get the opportunity to talk about what I wanted to, so I mean, I guess it would be, each board member's ability to be able to speak. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay.
No comment.
I don't think there should be a time limit. 5 minutes is a little ridiculous. The treasurer might have 25 things to talk to or about the clerk and the supervisor.
Okay, it doesn't mean it has to be
Well, it's
used.
written on paper.
Yeah, but it's there in case it needs to be.
Okay, well, that's fine. And nobody's ever been silenced in any board meeting I've been to.
Well, okay, so the tactics that were used at the last board meeting had the same effect. Okay? So Jim, I asked to be on the agenda, you put me way at the bottom of the list. And then you had a town hall meeting instead of a board meeting. You ran the clock out, you got everybody tired and angry. And then at the end of the day, no one wanted to talk about anything, they just wanted to get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if you would conduct meetings properly, we wouldn't be doing this right now.
Right, you asked for 10 minutes, you've already.
Well, the thing about it is though, Jim, when you open up a motion, you're not limited to 10 minutes. It goes on until it's finished. So there you go again, trying to obstruct and silence me.
I'm not trying to silence you.
You're trying to
That's
say
what
you're
you're on the agenda without
You're trying to
even-
say what I have to say is not important or relevant.
I didn't say that at all.
Well, that's what you're implying. I don't want to hear anything about the 10 minutes. When I make a motion, and we're talking about it, there's no time limit on it.
Me, because we have lots of things to get to today.
Yeah, we had lots of things to get to last month too. The agenda shall be created by all 5 board members with transparency, disclosure of all pending, outstanding items or subjects, and to prevent concealment or partiality. If all of them cannot be addressed in a single board meeting, the 5-member board shall select which ones are priority and which ones are to be discussed at the next future meeting.
And at what meeting did we do that at?
Pardon me?
You said that the 5 board members decide what we're gonna deem important or not important. What meeting do we do that at?
Well, first of all, we don't, and that's the problem. You see, you and Christine think you run the show here. And you're just 2 of 5 board members. You and Christine come up with agendas without discussing it with the other board members.
That is not true, and you can submit.
No,
something.
it
You
is
just
true.
Submitted that to the
No, no,
board, for
it
an
is true.
agenda item.
Listen, the MTA process is, we discuss in public, in front of the public.
Okay.
What we're gonna have an agenda. Okay, it could be today for the next agenda. But what you and Christine do is you come up with an agenda a day before the meeting. Or you bring the paperwork to the meeting and we're just getting it.
Christine didn't have anything to do with this agenda.
I'm not talking about today, about the previous ones, okay?
We've only had 2 previous meetings for crying out loud.
Well, for crying out loud, we're not gonna have them the way they were. That's why we're adjusting this. The board needs to decide what the agenda,
When do
The
we get
board-
together to make the
the
agenda?
board needs to,
Because I could use some
listen
help
to me,
today.
the board needs to decide what the agenda is, not you.
When?
It is the statutory duty of the supervisor to make the agenda.
I'm aware of the statutory duty, you're not listening. The agenda, he can make the agenda after we decide together what it's gonna be. But you can't do it on, the supervisor is not the boss. He is the boss of no one. All 5 of us, well, Christine included, has the same power. Okay, you're nothing, you are a trustee with statutory duties.
I understand what my duties are.
Okay, well, don't act like you're the boss or the supervisor, like in a
Dave,
regular
I'm not
job.
acting
No,
like a
you
boss.
do,
and
and you
don't accuse
have
me.
been. No, you haven't. Another thing is this.
Where am I bossing you?
I'm gonna explain that.
Do that.
Okay, we don't conduct business through email. Deciding what we're gonna have at a board meeting. We do it in front of the public, we do it with transparency.
We can't decide what we don't even know is gonna be addressed the next month.
Well, but we know what's gonna be addressed today, right?
Well, today, yeah, I'm pretty sure we've been collecting stuff for a month. that, you know,
Well, yeah,
discuss it.
especially after last month's meeting.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, you don't think there was a problem with last month's meeting?
Well, we know there's a problem, we're running too long,
Right,
okay?
You're not, you don't do the agenda on your own, dude. Okay, you do it collectively with the five of
You
us.
can submit items for an
I'm
agenda.
not talking about submitting items. I'm talking about whatever you are picking from to be on the
I'm picking
agenda.
what is in front of it.
We need to be part of that decision, not just you,
Well,
Christine.
how do you want to do that?
Just send a request, so let's.
No. This undoes that.
If you think we can discuss tonight what we're gonna have on our agenda next month, there's no way to do that.
Well, then next month, at the beginning, between the five of us, decide what's gonna be on the agenda, and then we move forward. You don't just come up with what you want to be on the agenda.
I put on the agenda what is the important business of the township. That's what I make the agenda out of. Okay, what's coming to me in the mail, what's being asked of me, and I forward things to you, I forward things to everyone.
I
That if
don't
if
get
it's-
whatever you're forwarding around, and the same with Christine. You can see my inbox like anyone else that has their mail.
I send stuff to everybody all the time, so apparently you have an email issue and we should fix that.
So it's kind of funny, I get some, but not others.
Actually, I think we all have that problem right now.
We all have email issues.
With the township.
The email,
Yeah, we all have issues.
She doesn't get my emails. My treasurer doesn't get my emails.
Something we need to address.
Okay, so the clerk and treasurer apparently have problems reconciling. Like there's information that's being requested by Michelle, for example, and Christine's not cooperating, she's not providing it. She's not providing it within the 3 or 5 days and forcing Michelle to consider a FOIA to get something that she should get within 3 to 5 days. The clerk and treasurer must reconcile the budget no less than 5 business days prior to a budget meeting. Any request for information between the clerk and treasurer must be done in a timely manner to enable the requesting parties to receive what they ask for no less than 5 business days after the request is made. So we've got issues here with our office staff and Christine and Michelle and Dee. We have a lot of turmoil. A lot of resistance to the new board members coming in. Okay, when I hear from Michelle that she makes a request and she's getting, not getting responded to, not getting what she asked for in a timely manner. I mean, we have a clerk that has a deputy clerk and an office administrator.
That
And she-
office administers for the entire township. It's not,
That's fine.
she's not a secretary.
It doesn't matter. She's got what she needs with her deputy clerk. Okay, to get things to Michelle or anyone else that requests information, any other board member that requests information in a timely manner. We've got issues with that and the public needs to know about that. And as you can see,
I would like to have Michelle speak to that because Michelle and I have been cooperating quite well, I think.
Right, we do need to reconcile, our books, and I understand a lot of that is because we have QuickBooks. So each of us are entering our pieces, and then we have to get together and we have to reconcile. And unfortunately, we've ended up last minute, so people aren't able to get reports and be able to see what's, what's accurate. Like we're both able to balance with our banks, but we need to be able to set up a time before the meetings to be able to do that. As far as the reports, those are just budget meeting reports. And I think I've talked to you, Jim, about being able to have those prior to our budget meeting.
Right. And
So that we know where
yep,
we're
and a lot
at.
of that information isn't like readily available, it does require some research and digging and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I'm hoping that BSNA is gonna change that. We're all gonna have access to the information that, we're all sharing.
Right, and I think to be able to do a budget, we have to be able to take a look at that. It doesn't mean that anybody's insinuating that anything is wrong or mishandling or anything like that, but if we're doing a budget moving forward, we've got to know where, we've made mistakes in the past. So that we don't repeat them and that we're good steward of the community, taxpayer monies. But as far as the people in the office having issues, I don't work in the office, my office hours are from home. Tuesday through Thursday, 10 to 2, so I'm available. My cell phone number has been provided to the township. Anybody who's able to reach me or by emails, the office administrators, and forwarding this to them, I'm able to respond to those as well.
And you said Tuesday through Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, 10 to 2.
Dave, I was just,
Any other input?
Yeah.
Before I go to the next paragraph?
I would like to know when we're gonna make an agenda together. How we're gonna decide that.
Well, let's decide that right now, and let's decide that after I'm finished with the next 2 paragraphs and the motion. Vote. Okay? The spirit of these rules are to ensure that the public is heard, that the board replies to the public, that the checks and balances of each board member are available, utilized, protected from obstruction and partiality, and to manage the time used for all meetings in a manner that is in the best interest of the public. In the event that these terms, provisions, and policy conflict with any other previously agreed upon terms, provisions, and or policy, the terms, provisions, and policy as described heretofore will supersede, trump, take precedence, and prevail. So just because there's existing policy from the previous board, or from even before the previous board, doesn't mean that we can't change or modify. Okay, so to say that's already a rule, or that's already a policy,
Well, it is the current rule.
well, that's fine, but you see, we have meetings to address and modify current rules. We don't just go by a rule because it was a rule 5 years ago or whatever. Now, whatever rules that you have, sure as hell didn't work last month.
We're gonna have rough meetings occasionally,
No, you allowed that meeting to get out of hand.
Okay, I'll take responsibility for that. Okay,
Okay, so, I mean, I'm here for serious business. I'm not here for the BS that you conducted at that last meeting. Yeah, and you owe an apology
to who?
to everyone, especially the other board, your fellow board members, for your lack
You
of
could have
conduct.
spoke up at that board meeting yourself if you really thought, we
Well,
needed to stop.
I had to do some research on that before I did to make sure
Mhm.
that I could, and I gave it a lot of thought. I talked to our township attorney. Did someone not hear what I said?
Yes, sir, what was that?
Did you say he what?
You what?
Are you asking me?
You contacted the township attorney?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
So, I'm not just gonna. This is how I handled it.
Mhm.
All right, so,
Can I ask what you talked to our township attorney about?
about,
That is pretty important to the board.
yeah, it is. I talked to the township attorney about what I'm addressing right now. And about what happened at last month's meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, so I wanna make a motion to vote on this.
Make the motion then. What is the wordage?
It's right in front of you.
You. Okay, then make
I
the motion.
want us to adopt this policy. So that our meetings.
Completely as written, no change, just,
Well, if you wanna change the 2 minutes to 3 minutes,
I don't think I wanna vote on this. I just got it 15 minutes ago. Same kind of thing you were concerned about at the last meeting.
Okay, so you don't wanna vote.
I don't want to vote on it right now.
Do you wanna
I
vote on
would
it
like
right
to
now?
look at it, do a little do some research.
Okay, do you wanna vote on it?
I wanna wait until the next meeting. But no, not tonight.
Okay, so apparently there's not enough votes to pass it. So,
Would you want it on the agenda at the next
I
meeting?
do.
Board rules next meeting. I'll see if I can dig out our existing policy too.
I'd like a copy of it, in my inbox.
It's been a while since I've seen it too, so.
Yeah.
But. Just to put a little icing on this, okay, you know, I don't come in here with a goal to run a 4-hour meeting and run the clock out like you're talking. I have no idea I'm trying to do the business of the township. And. Lord knows I got lots of other things I could be spending my time on and. You know, I put a ton of hours into this township to. Try to get things better. I could use some help. If you. You know,
If you
feel that
need,
there's something.
if you need my help, you ask for it.
Yeah, I will.
You know that.
I'm going to.
I'll be
I
there,
will.
just like I was to take down the stuff at the Heritage Park and put it back in the jail.
Right. But I agree that we could use some tweaking on our rules within meetings. Okay, I just don't know if I want to agree to this whole entire thing right now, so I want to read it and I
Well,
want to
we
look
can't,
at
okay,
official policy.
Well,
And
we're deciding we're gonna put it on the agenda, that will give us 1 month to
Yes.
go over, and it will allow each of us to put our input in any questions that we have.
we
And
have,
it'll also give, the clerk and I the opportunity, to set aside some time to be able to do our reconciliation until we have, you know, BSNA where, you know, we won't have that piece of the puzzle. I know her and I both have very busy, you know, lives
Mhm.
outside of the township. So, her and I can get together and set a date, put it on the calendar, and, you know, that'll be our time where we can meet. Do you agree with that? Will that work for you, Christine?
Sure.
Okay.
okay. Can we move on?
Oh, we missed the report from the sheriff.
Well, he'll probably be back.
He'll be back.
Think so?
He likes it.
Yeah, he's on a chase there. But. All right, December 19th minutes. I have already read these. They look pretty good, so I'll make a motion. If somebody wants to second their approval, we can do that.
And those are the minutes from our past meeting.
From our past regular meeting, not the budget meeting. Well, actually, the budget meeting for January 5th was canceled.
So do we have the budget meeting this Saturday, or are we gonna have?
The 18th.
reports to be able to
The
go for
18th.
Saturday?
The 18th is still our
Okay. At what
Yeah.
time?
10 a.m. Is there a second on these minutes? All those in favor? Aye.
Maybe they didn't hear you.
Anybody else want to vote yay or nay on these minutes for December 19th?
I go with me.
Okay, where's the correction that you'd like to make?
So on the hospital board presentation of resolution regarding Clearwater Township's position,
Mhm.
Decision was made to hold off until January. Is that on the agenda for there?
It is.
Okay. It's on the treasurer's report, it states that it balanced with the bank, not balanced with the clerk, is that correct?
Right.
Is that-
We
is that-
didn't get the opportunity to sit down and go over each of the items. We did not get to do that, this month either. We did by text, phone call, and email. I believe, both of us balanced with the bank. We just did not balance with each other, so. The motion that I was making is that Christine and I set a specific day prior, maybe a couple of weeks or a week, 5 days, something prior to the meeting, so her and I can just make sure that we're on the same page. And
Okay,
it's probably more of a learning curve for me as well.
okay, so, that's the reason I'm a nay right there.
That's a what?
That's the reason I'm a nay. You asked for a reason?
But that is what happened. This is a report of what happened at the meeting. That is what happened at the
But it
meeting.
still hasn't happened.
You mean they haven't met?
They haven't reconciliated with each other.
Okay, that's what it says.
That's what it says for the 19th of December. Okay,
Approved.
are you suggesting or implying, Jim, that I have to, be a yay and that I can't be a nay?
Well, if we're gonna approve the minutes of December 19th, we have to have 3 yay votes. And if
Okay.
there's a problem and there's a correction needed, I'd like to hear it so we can fix
Okay,
that,
so-
so we can approve the minutes.
Good, okay, so you got 3 yays.
I only heard myself and
Okay, Shel, are you a yay or a nay?
Well, but I'm just stating what is on here is what transpired at the meeting. Then this is what transpired at the meeting. There were some things that were at the last meeting that we were going to go over at the budget meeting. So I guess that would be my only addition to the meeting, to make sure that we go over that information in the budget meeting, like we talked about, what was it? Capital, the capital operating capital accounts, as far as what all we bought out of those and those types of things. And then we discussed, we were gonna go over them in the budget meeting.
Yes.
And we were gonna do that, and then that budget meeting was canceled. So as long as we're gonna do it in the budget meeting, can we add that into the minutes? If we add that, as well as the reports for the budget meeting, and I think everything else, I mean, I'm comfortable that those things have happened. But we did discuss that some of the things that were brought up, like the truck, the tractor and stuff coming out of the operating capital and things like that, that we were going to bring that up at the next budget meeting. And that was canceled, so I guess adding that, we're gonna bring those up at our next meeting. Just so that they just don't get,
So you would want me to add in here that,
the things that we discussed that we were gonna go over at the budget meeting on the 4th, that we're just gonna go over the budget meeting on Saturday.
okay, so word that, so I can write it on here.
You can put it, that and at the end, just initially just stating that we're gonna go over the expenses that we talked about. As far as the truck, the tractor, there was stuff that was paid for out of the operating funds, and we were gonna get information as far as where the funds came out of, and if we sold them, where they were gonna go back into. We were gonna discuss it at January 4th
Okay,
budget meeting, so we're gonna discuss it at the next one, then I'm good with that,
So is that a yay?
as long as we're discussing, yes.
yeah.
Okay, so you got 2 yays, Bob, are you a yay or an
I'm
nay?
not using-
Okay, there you go, you got 3 yays.
Okay. Okay. Meeting minutes approved. Okay, treasurer's report, we're on, Michelle.
So the treasurer's report, and it notes in here that again, I was able to balance with the bank, and Christine was able to balance with the bank. We were unable to meet to balance and reconcile with each other. And the disclosures. The treasurer's report.
All right, I guess, we have the expenses by vendor detail, and I'm just kind of filling a little bit here for Christine on this. Christine, are we in need of approving these vendor payments?
Yes, we'll need a motion to approve those.
I just have one question. The Centeris one, is that just one that is every month, every 3 months, like every 6 months, or is that what we've accrued with reaching out to Centeris for kind of questions? As far as our computer system and tech. On page 1, about the big item, benefit item down.
Centaurus is a monthly bill. There are actually 2 bills. One is for service and one is for the server.
We also have some renewals coming up on certain software. I sent an email or received an email from Centaurus about that and forwarded it to everybody, and I asked if we could discuss it here.
Which report? I apologize.
Yeah, it was a type of software that needed approval, or it needed an annual updating.
Is it the warranty that you
Yeah,
discussed?
no, that was something you and I discussed, but
And that's with Centeris. So we have a contract with them.
Mhm.
In that contract, I think at the last meeting, they stated that contract was for 3 years. And I think that it's $80,000, correct? To Centeris, and then we pay $150 per hour if we have issues. And then Spectrum, we have some crossovers. Do we have any idea how far into the contract we are and what is the ramifications if we don't keep Centeris and go with a local?
I have no
service provider?
idea how far we're into it, but I know that it was a 3-year contract. It's about 18 months, somewhere in that general area.
What's, I'm sorry,
About 18 months.
about 18 months into
Yeah, I
a
know it
3-year
started
contract.
like December, and it started maybe in February, January.
Okay, thank
I
you.
started in started in December of 22.
So-
The Centaurus contract was 49,000, not 80,000.
Okay, so did we pay out for equipment?
Yes.
Okay,
Initially.
initial equipment.
Okay, this is $880. It's for the VM 2025, VMware 2025 subscription.
Christine?
Any idea what that might
Do
be
you have
for?
it here? The office administrator, what that is by any chance?
How much was it?
880?
Oh. It wasn't the printer, was it?
VMware subscription.
Because if it's anything we need, we don't want that to lapse, but if it's something that, you know, we are covered with Spectrum, because I think we found last time that we have crossovers.
Okay, it says, here's the quote for maintenance coverage for your VMware software, which expires in January. You have the option to continue the coverage. This maintenance keeps the software up to date and also provides for escalated direct support in case of a network failure. We highly recommend that you keep this coverage up to date so that if your server fails, we can get things going again in the fastest time frame possible.
So I guess we would have to, when does that expire?
January,
So this month,
Yes.
we're gonna have to
We
come
need
up
it,
with
yes.
something, what it is, maybe by the budget meeting. Because I'm not familiar with it. The cloud, oh, wow. It's cloud storage, look at that. See, there was a reason it came to pick here.
so then, if it's cloud storage and this is something that we need,
Well, what are we storing in the cloud? Do we have any idea?
our whole BSNA software is gonna be cloud storage, isn't it?
But this is, we haven't enacted
For
that
Centaurus.
part yet, so.
One's tax. One's financial. You won't have everything and stuff like that.
No,
So we should bring in that, or we should look into it and
$880 for cloud storage.
I paid $3.99 storage.
$3.
Cloud. Google.
I would ask them why you need the cloud when you have a server. There should be a backup to the server in the server. I don't know if you need cloud.
She's the one that said it was cloud. This here says that it's when your server breaks down.
That's because it's storing to the cloud.
So we should
There should
probably
be backup
ask
to the server.
for more information and probably hold that over for our budget meeting.
Yeah.
You know, with finances. And that'll give us an opportunity to look into it.
Okay, there was one other thing on the BSNA that's part of the treasury report there, and that is, point and pay, or not point and pay, but the BSA payment addendum, or addendum for payments. They want $350 for the terminal for the credit cards to go into. So do I have
That'll
a
be
motion
given-
to make that
I
payment?
would put the motion for
Okay.
part accessibility.
Jim,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
never finished the motion for the vendor report
Oh,
to pay the bills. Yeah, you got distracted.
that's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Start dating.
Yeah. Expense by vendor detail, I'll make that motion that we, and it's actually down quite a bit this month, if
Yes,
you
it
haven't seen that, but $10,082. It's,
It's down quite a bit.
yep. Couple months ago, it was $36,000 a month is what it was costing to keep the township rolling, but for 1 month, 10,082. I'll make the motion, we pay the bills. Actually, oh, okay,
To pay the bills. And then
All
I'd
those in
like to-
favor? Aye.
I,
And I would like to make the motion to discuss what we're paying in, software IT.
Do you have a
Um,
motion on the, or a vote on this motion?
I said, yes,
Okay.
and those, yes.
You seconded, but you didn't hear it. I didn't hear it A or L.
I second your motion.
So we can take a look at what we're spending in IT. Across, the-
Okay, motion to itemize all of our IT expenses.
please. We can start.
I'll second that. All in favor?
I,
All right, well, that will roll us down to actually. Are we gonna receive a clerk report at all today? Christine?
That's all I had.
Okay. All right, we'll roll down then to number 11, commission committee reports. We've had some requests for brevity and to speed things up, so I'm hoping that we can, if you have a written report, if there's just something that's not maybe not quite on the report, we will all read the report to know what's going on. So if there's anything you want to share very quickly, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know that, reiterate that, I have had significant decline in calls on zoning. So, John's doing a good job. People are getting through, they're getting a call back, and I pretty much don't get any calls other than people ask, just starting up and saying, how do I get this done? But I used to get a lot of calls before, people calling back and saying they hadn't heard. So that's good. That's really good. And then with Spectrum, it's due diligence. I did recover $222 from them for the phone that never installed at the Heritage Barn. And that took some fighting, but we got that done, so that's good. And then I just got, I'm reading Central phone, we had an extra phone. I don't know if it was in the contract, they wouldn't give me my money back. They wouldn't take the phone back. They finally, Jim came and he wanted the phone, so we finally got that set up. And I argued with them and got it installed for free. Because they should have done it in the first place, and they've done such a horrible job all along. And then also, in the last board, I was not able to get the supervisor to be trained on the dashboard. The dashboard looks at all the cameras, computers, even looks at phones, busyness and things like that. So we really, I think.
Be in touch with Mohammed.
Yeah, so get in touch, Mohammed, the trustees are welcome to learn that, it'd be more the better. Because, someone's out of town, so to get in there with pictures.
We should all be concerned with security and checking
Right.
that periodically, so I want everybody to have that access.
Knows how to get in there, so she's done it, she's helped me. So that's good. And then the final thing, I think we're all done with, all the things that's going on with Spectrum over the last couple of years, is I'm gonna combine all the bills to one bill for Christine from Spectrum, so she doesn't have to pay all these separate bills.
Okay.
So that's been a long haul. And I want to thank Dan Packers for inviting me to the planning commission meeting and working on the cemetery. That made me feel very good that they included, our input. And there will be more work to do when they finish up the BSA of the cemetery. I know that they're not gonna have to go to the cemetery itself, because you're gonna have to compare the books, you know, the log and everything, so that's great. As far as taxes, there's been some changes in taxes. It used to be that I went into BSA and I could find assessments and taxes, but the treasurer wants to do that on her own now. So just let people in the community know that when they walk in, they're not gonna be able to just, you know, get information from me. They're gonna have to get hold of the treasurer. And also, when they come in to pay bills, if you don't have an office administrator, they're probably not gonna be able to pay, you know, get a receipt at that time. They could just put their bill in there and they'll have to come back with an envelope or whatever they need to do. So that's gonna be a big change for the community, because I've already had several people yell at me. So, because I told them I couldn't help them. I tried, but I couldn't. I do have a PDF, and I did ask her to give me a new one because they're overlapping. So if someone does come in, they just forgot their bill, I can print it out, but I'm finding it's like a 50-50 shot if they're overlapping.
I saw that one you showed me.
Yeah, and when the originally it was sent, Dee got right back with me and she said, you know, they were overlapping, you know, that there was a problem, and I made it very clear. I just deleted the old message and copied that, so there's something wrong with that one too. I'm not sure what's going on. And then finally, I am resigning from the position. I will stay, you know, to the end of the month. I know it was mentioned about deleting my position, but I think that would be a mistake. I am coordinator, facilitator, the first line of person people talk to. I'm a problem solver. There's a lot more than just opening of mail and paying taxes.
Rentals.
It hurts me to let it go because I really enjoyed it, but I'm just not comfortable anymore for different reasons. And then also I've told you that I would stay on Tuesdays to help Margaret so she can have her day off. There's certain things that Margaret can't do that the unlocking and unlocking of the doors is very difficult. Probably shouldn't have took it on. It's pretty technical.
Mhm.
And then sometimes, you know, if the internet's down, somebody won't unlock. There's a lot of programming, things like that. So we might, in the long run, you know, the other office administrator can't handle it, maybe go back to having EPS do it again, where we send emails. But that's something we can talk about later. And that's it. And I'll be, you know, I won't be going away. I'll volunteer or do stuff. I'll
Okay.
be around.
I, for one, appreciate you, and
Yeah, I've enjoyed working with you. Enjoyed working with Christine. I really don't know other people well. But, you know, when I hear that you're gonna delete my job or you're requesting that, it shows me that they don't know what I do. I'm not saying I'm perfect or exact all the time. I'm just saying I went above and beyond, and it felt like a good old slug in the back of the head.
speaking on that, do we need to put an ad out for another office administrator? We're gonna,
Well, are we going to talk at the budget meeting about, job descriptions, the amount of time that it's required to do that job? And, because we did discuss again, at another meeting that we were gonna go over job descriptions and we were going to narrow down, what those individuals do and approve those. So, I mean, I would like to have a job description approved before we
That's a
reach
good
out.
idea.
And, you know, just so I can follow up. So the tax part of that puzzle, you know, I need to be able to do. So I just want you to know it's not a sleight of hand.
Well, look, I'm not gonna get picky about it, but when I was in there, I worked in that BSNA for over, well, during Joanne's administration there. because she wasn't able to get in there, didn't feel comfortable with it. And then all of a sudden I come in one day, I have someone in front of me and they're saying, can you look this up? I go to look it up and someone changed the password. It would have been nice to know that before you did something like that.
So all I need is that somebody comes in and they have to ask questions, is just on my cell phone number, but I'm unable to answer them.
They're not
I'll
happy.
reach
A lot of
out.
them are not happy with that. Some take it just fine, but there's other people that yell at me. Because
Well,
they're
that's
used to coming in, and I know you want people to do it on the internet. There's some people that don't even have emails.
We don't require that everybody do everything on the internet.
No, I'm just saying, but a lot of times we just tell them to do that and they come back and they can't. And then they come back and they're saying, I can't do it, I want to pay it. And then I gotta tell them, oh, I can't.
Everybody that's come to me via the phone or email, I've talked to them on the phone, they've been wonderful and happy about buying on the internet. They know I could do it. These are forwarded people to me. I haven't had any problem.
Well, that's good. to
They've
know.
actually been really good talking to them.
I am. I'm in the office, I'm face to face. They feel like this is the person they can come to and get something done, and they can't.
And I would like them to come to the treasurer. And
They are.
their office hours, they can come to my
I'm
home.
just
I
telling
have
you,
no
I'm just
issue.
telling you, this is what I'm getting from the citizens that come in.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
And
Some
they're
are
welcome
really
to
great,
come
but
to
I
my
have
house.
places
I
to
might
sit there
even
and
brew
yell at me.
coffee
Okay, let's move
before
on.
they come.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the new BSA is gonna help with some of that too, so.
It is, and you
I-
are people that are not going to,
Be
want
able
to
to
go
act.
on to BNA, and they can, write their checks, and they can provide their email address, and we'll email them their, receipt. If they're not
But-
comfortable emailing, we'll take a stamp address envelope, which has been the past,
Mhm.
and we will mail them a receipt.
One
A
quick-
lot of people don't have email.
Well, I just said that we would give them a paper.
But
Receipt,
they
they
have to
could
have
pay
a
by
stamped
check.
envelope, so that means they gotta go back home, get a stamp envelope, and come back.
But they've always had to have a state address on.
I know.
To get a receipt, so.
But
that's
not always,
new.
because they didn't always have someone in there to take it.
Well, they can
It's
come
a
to my house
policy
and
for
I'll
the
give them
treasurer
one.
to decide any policy. I don't think it's.
Right. I don't have to decide anymore.
I agree. All right. Parks and Rec. Do we have any additions to the Parks and Rec report? They have a couple requests here. I will reach out and, I should say this, I've already reached out to them at the Parks and Rec meeting and told them the 18th is our budget meeting. Dave and Christy, I think, are gonna attend budget meeting just so they can get a little Parks and Rec attention. I think they're already working with Spicer Group, which is their second request. I think. There was modification on the location of where they're putting that playground equipment. They moved it over to the west, or excuse me, the east of the pavilion. It's kind of recommended because of the danger of foul balls. In fact, on the back here, you can see the location. They want us to approve that, which I have no problem with. I think it's a great location for it. So I'll make that motion that we allow Parks and Rec to install that equipment where they're asking. I'll second that.
No. There you go.
All those in favor?
No.
All right, we'll go ahead and do the fire department. Well, one other thing on Parks and Rec, they gave me a list of maintenance requests. kind of a long list. I'm not gonna read or anything. I can't even find it right at the moment, but they've got maybe we can discuss briefly with them at the budget meeting. They're just having a hard time coordinating. Like they come to us and they ask for something and then, you know, we discuss or whatever, and sometimes it gets morphed a little bit, but they get an answer, but it's not quite what they're looking for. So they want to have like a set procedure, like when they want something, where do they go? How do they do it? And that previous board occasionally hit them up with expenses that, you know, a leaf rake for mostly the cemetery use paid for out of Parks and Rec, you know, so there's like questions and issues. They just want to smooth out those bumps so that.
Well, maybe we could talk about at a budget meeting about setting up some policy and procedure, and then that way everybody kind of stays in their own room, and there isn't that crossover.
Right. I'm all for that. But again, previous board, they had kind of a strange way of looking at it. Like if the maintenance guy works on a toilet at Parks, they want to back charge through Parks and Rec, and there's, you know, some issues of.
Well, is the maintenance guy paid through Parks and Rec or only through?
That's just it. It sometimes is not, and they want to smooth those bumps out. So policy.
Perfect.
Can I ask a question, Jim?
Quickly.
Yeah, if I'm still Parks representative, you have appointed, it was to the board, you haven't appointed anybody else, I'll remain on the committee. But I will be coming to the budget meeting too, and I think there's some others, but having been a part of it for 4 years, yeah, I see both sides being on the board, and so, yeah, definitely stuff needs to be straightened out so we can do a budget on the parks.
All right, fire department, very quickly, you're not looking at the report, they had 29 requests for service. One building fire. There is a written maintenance report here. I don't know if there's anything we need to discuss on that.
There's a $1,450 repair to the lawn.
Yes. Yeah, he emailed me that the other day. This is our older John Deere piece of equipment. And it was a hydraulic lines in. I was told the pump was also part of the fix, but I don't see it on here, but it is $1,450. I'll make a motion that we approve that. Again, this is on our old John Deere, which Craig had Hudson give him a estimate as to what they thought the value of our old John Deere tractor is. We just recently bought one. I don't know if you guys know that or not. The old one is about $6,000 to $8,000 is what they said the value of it would be. So we're doing a $1,400 repair on a roughly $6,000 to $8,000 piece of equipment. But it is a good piece of equipment. It has the bucket on it.
Have we gotten any other quotes other than 1450, like maybe somebody local?
That is the John Deere dealer. So I don't know if we have they're under contract or anything with them, but
I have some recommendations. Maybe we could talk about it at the budget meeting.
okay. You mean a different person to fix?
That's local Calcasas.
So on this expenses by vendor detail,
Okay.
on the second page, there's something about the tractor repair. $459.94.
Okay.
Is that the same tractor?
Was it at Hudson?
Well, as you can see, the date on it's 1/16, it's a Visa charge.
Mhm.
And it says tractor REP, so I'm imagining that needs repairs. So is that the newer tractor or the same older one that was out there?
It must be on the new one because the older one's been down for a little while. So this, what is the vendor on that one?
It's on page 3 under the visa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know which tractor that is and
It's gotta be, it's probably, it's on like as well, and then get burdens.
Let's find out what that is, okay?
The invoice for that would be in the post audit file in the office.
okay.
Was that last month? Everybody's saying, I see everybody's saying there's a file,
Oh, okay.
everybody's saying there's a file there. And I'm post.
Okay,
Is that something you can provide or do I need to ask Christine?
You can just, you'll see it. You
Yes.
just walk in, it's right by the thing on the left. And
It's
then there's, general audit and then fire.
Okay.
And then just go through it. And
Could someone go through it for me and put a copy of it, put in my email?
see.
Thank you.
Is that for the next meeting?
If we just, yeah.
How about, do you want
For
me
the-
to just email it first? Oh, no, you don't get your email, so.
For the one on Saturday?
Do you want me to email it to you?
No.
Saying that-
No, I'll just pick it up. Thank you.
And it, who was it from, do you know? Was it 400?
It says
It doesn't say.
459.94 tractor repair. And it was a Visa charge on the 16th of January. So that's today. And this is just look it out for today.
Oh,
Yeah, all these charges have today's date on it, so.
no, I'm sure that's last month, right?
it
Well,
says 116.
it's at 1/16 for the, under Visa general fund.
Everything.
Nothing's listed in there. Yeah, it's all, I think.
I think it's-
last month. 'Cause I just looked at the visa and people check out the card and then we check it out, so they're in her to buy something. So,
Okay,
yeah. Somebody else.
well, I guess we'll figure it out,
I-
when you find it, make a copy, I can look at it, see the date on the invoice.
I think why it says 116 is because that's the last date of the thing here, so it's,
Or could that be paid? I mean, these could be for charges and invoices that are previous to the 16th, but perhaps they were paid on the 16th? And then,
that's what we did today.
yeah, I know,
Those checks were all written today.
but that's why the date of the 16th is on.
That makes sense.
Okay,
Thanks, Christine. All right, I'm also looking here at the, quickly at the maintenance report. It says there's 3 street lamp poles that are not working currently. Boy, those things have been a pain in the butt. They go out all the time.
They need an overhaul.
I'm sorry.
Some of them need the overhaul.
Can you do that pricing from Morrison Electric
Well, I'm thinking that,
and their local?
yes.
We discussed that at the last meeting, that those are decorative and it wasn't necessary to fix them immediately. So keeping the budget, we need to just wait on that.
I don't
So
think,
what, the decorations, I thought we talked.
no,
about
no, these are the
The
lamp
actual.
poles, the actual lamp poles, yes. There's 27 of them total.
Hmm.
And, I think 3 is, manageable. So I think maybe it would be good to let them know that there are 3 out. And
That does come out of nothing, fund, not the general budget.
mhm. Well, it can come out of metro.
But
But you know, again, I'm only one guy on this board, so is three of them being out something that we can manage for a while and you know, kind of monitor it?
I don't think there's any sense unless you know until spring, it's nice real. Next week is long.
I think that's a great analysis there. So we're gonna put off till spring, getting the lampposts worked on. No vote needed on that. All right, thank you, Craig Van Nyn. Planning Commission,
Mr. Supervisor, we didn't have anything to bring to the board for a recommendation for approval. So I have a report that I can do verbally, or if you would like to expedite the meeting, I'll submit it in writing to the clerk and you can disperse it to the board. And I'll have it out in the next day or so, guys.
that sounds good. Also, established all your dates on,
We did that at the meeting, right? We had a resolution to establish a meeting date, so
Yeah.
that'll be in there as well.
okay. Yeah, and I'm still getting the final short-term rental discussion from our legal person to you. I'm still looking for that, so I wrote that on minutes there.
I think we had that already.
You did get it already?
Yeah,
Where did you get it?
I believe Christine sent it.
Okay.
All of them, the pieces.
Okay, good. Good. And that master plan is still waiting?
Little tweaking to go on that, so
Okay.
we need a signature from Christine on the master plan itself. I've been working on that, she's been out of the office,
Right.
but we'll have that taken care of shortly.
All right. John West, zoning.
You have my zoning report.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of things real quick for you. I heard it today, President Trump spoke how important it is for zoning for our local communities. Not just the state of Michigan is trying to put their control over the local communities, and that would affect us quite a bit. All I'm telling people is please just keep an eye on what's going on in the state, what they're trying to push through. Because we definitely don't want the state telling us how to run our communities up here. We will definitely lose our rural characteristics. A lot of us come up here for that reason. Other than that, as you can tell, it's a pretty slow month.
For those of you that were looking, House Bill 480 did not pass. It died in lame duck. That was the bill that would allow 20 parcels on a 10-acre property for land divisions. So they were going to make that statewide. So could see that again at some time.
They're still, like I said, still trying to be pushed, and we'll probably see something if we don't maintain our local control. And it's trying to be pushed nationwide.
John and I went to a quarterly Michigan Township Association meeting where our county administrator, Dave Schaefer, laid out some of the others. There's 7 townships that rely solely on Kalkaska zoning. And our township, and again, if that bill 480 would have passed, we in our agricultural and recreational zoned areas have a minimum of 5 acres. So even if that law would have passed, Clearwater Township has a little buffer, just so you know there that we're slightly protected.
Something more.
Yes, yes,
Local zoning.
yes. And all the other townships were quite envious of us. Okay, road commission. I was at the road commission meeting this morning, 9 o'clock. The county did approve the abandonment of Ranch Road. There still is, and that was a seasonal road. It's an easement for about 10 properties. For those of you who don't know, Ranch Road is over by the Barker Creek area, goes south all the way to Town Line Road. It's just a winding little gravel road. And it's a private road, and we have, even though the road commission abandoned it, we still have an interest. The township has an interest in that easement. It's gonna be sent to me by the county road commission attorney, a resolution to help us decide what we want our interest to be or not be in that road. I'm thinking we're gonna be abandoning it as a township easement as well. But again, I'll wait and see what the paperwork from the lawyers looks like, says or whatever, and I'll make sure I email everybody a copy of that. Underhill Road, the first span of the bridge is completed. Well, not completely completed, but it's in place, and they are currently in the process of putting the second span together, so that'll be coming together soon. I'm told that the bids will be opened up for the Hoyles and Zimmerman Road projects at the March finance meeting.
And is that what the county?
Yes,
And some of the.
for road commission, yeah. One other thing too, River Street right here, some of you know how badly that floods, and there's that incredible hump right at the end, and school buses rock and stuff when they go over it, and there's a previous board approved up to $4,500 for a plan to fix that and correct the sidewalks and the unevenness of all of it. But I did receive from Huron Engineering that plan, more or less. There's some modifications needed on it. There wasn't any provisions for the driveways for the individuals that live in the house there. So there's some minor corrections and stuff like that. John Rogers, the road commission guys, also looked at it. And he had a couple things he wanted to change, so I won't bring it to us here until a couple of those obvious errors need fixing. We'll get those done, then bring it to everybody here. Yes, sir.
We're gonna meet with John, 3rd of February.
Right.
I don't know what's really there. There's a church one in the west, and he's gonna be there on the fourth.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. All right, as far as road commission, one other thing that was just handed to me today, and that is permits from Eagle to change and this is part of the Hoyles fix, but it's changing currently a 15-inch culvert that goes underneath Hoyles. They want to change it to a 19-inch tall, 42-inch wide culvert. So there'll be a lot more availability for drainage. So, but Eagle permits in place for that. Couple, and that's pretty much it for the road committee that I have. I have some correspondence. The Cherry Capital Cycling Club requested to use the Birch Street Park Sunday, July 20th for their 38th annual Ride Around Torch event. Past years, in fact, 38 years, we have not charged them. They provide their own porta-johns and they do their own cleanup. So I'll make a motion that I be allowed to get back to him and prove that park
Yeah.
usage for him.
Yeah, I second that.
Can I speak on that, Jim?
Yes, sir.
With the stipulation that they won't run public out of there,
What do you mean run public?
like if somebody wants to come into the Birch Street Park, they still can.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
When we rent pavilions like that, we don't, other people come use the park, is.
Okay.
But I think what we would probably do is have the pavilion. So nobody else will take that.
Oh, that's our bread and butter time of the year for when you don't want to run too many people out here.
Mhm.
But, Joe, will you send me that email so I can get a rental agreement signed from them?
Sure,
Or anything, I can find that,
sure.
the date and stuff, and look at the time.
Yep. Addiction, okay. Another letter I received, addiction treatment services. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Oh, did he? Okay, yeah, I'll leave one for Christine. Anyway, they have a mobile unit that they are considering bringing to Rapid City one day a week. I was Sergeant Beaver that sent me the request for that, and he mentioned that they, wanted to use the hall or the Little Red Schoolhouse or the fire station, and Sergeant Beaver and I, through our discussion, thought that both here and the hall would be too close to the school for a drug treatment thing to take place here. So I haven't talked to anybody at the fire department yet, but apparently Sergeant Beaver has talked to Derek, and the only thing they need is a bathroom use. That everything else takes place in the truck or the mobile unit that they have. So I guess I'm looking for a vote to approve the once a week implementation of the mobile addiction treatment services wagon to use the fire barn parking lot and bathrooms for their thing. I think before they do it, they'll come and give us a presentation of exactly what's going to go on, but they would like to have permission, first before they come and do that.
But so the presentation will be at the board meeting?
Yes, they should come
Okay.
here and tell us exactly what they're going to be doing, and I'm thinking they're probably going to want us to help them get the word out. They're going to be here and that kind of thing. So
Okay, so did you just make a motion on it?
I make a motion that we allow the addiction treatment services to use the fire barn parking lot and restrooms.
Okay, I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay,
No.
I'm not until after I get a presentation from them.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Okay. I'll get back with them and I'll tell them that we're okay to receive the presentation, and we'll vote on approval then. Hey, don't page it. All right, this one is a tough one here, Glade Valley Road. So have you guys received that?
I've read a lot into it, and I'm still trying to find what I'm looking for reading through it, so.
It's a complicated thing. I've already sent it to our attorney. Glade Valley Road, where the old iron bridge used to be. The property, Mike Stevens' property, has sold or is in the process of selling. And he is looking for the township to. And he sent me a draft of what they're looking for, but he's working with the title company. They want some type of language in a quick claim deed that lays out the access for the new owner. Right now, it's listed and there's a declaration of easement, there's a settlement that from back when Mr. Stevens, excuse me, bought the easement. He actually purchased the easement for $1, which included the bridge, and then he donated $60,000. No, you're shaking your head.
He bought the 200 feet north of the bridge and the easement and the bridge for 60,000. And then he turned around and asked us, he was trying to get the bridge where it could be restored and it couldn't because too much had been done to it. It was gonna cost more money, so he asked us, I'm gonna destroy the bridge if you don't want it, do you want it? And we said, yeah. So that was as simple as that was, and the old board, the former board made the deal, all we did is the check.
Yes, but if you look back and you read in the judgment and all that, it explains out there everything, like he's built a gate out there because it's pedestrian traffic only to the bridge from.
Right.
No, is that just a handshake? That's what I'm looking for, because there was supposed to be public access, even foot access.
That
To
is,
the south side. Is that in the?
yes, actually all the way to the north side. You can cross the bridge. It's
Okay.
just the other side of the
Okay,
bridge.
and I must have missed that reading on that.
Mhm.
And I think I brought up my concern that it was a quitclaim deed and that there was no guarantee language in the quitclaim deed.
Yep, and I mentioned.
Also the splits.
Yep, I mentioned both of those things, all three of those things to our lawyer. I've passed all this stuff on to him to ask him to
Take it
you know,
apart.
pick it apart and. Tell us what is what he's asking. Yes. There's another, this one's 37 pages long, just nothing but gobbledygook. And it is, and this was sent to me by Kalkaska County because this title company is requesting a bunch of things from the county too, and Dave and I thought that we could maybe combine our efforts here a little bit and figure out what exactly is the best way to accomplish what the new owners are trying to do. They're trying to just maintain that they have access and to protect residents so they still have the access too. So a lot of stuff on that one. It's going to take a while to sort it out and get through it, but like I say, our lawyer is on it, and as I get information, I'll pass it on. Okay, I also passed that on to Dawn Coons, our assessor, so she's up to speed on it too. Hospital authority millage question. You may remember at the last meeting, I spoke lengthy on what was going on with our hospital, the conversion to the 501c3 and that. There were several townships that sought a legal opinion on what exactly the money that was paid through the millage, the 1.6 mil for the hospital capital improvement millage. Several townships got together and got a lawyer opinion. I have an invoice here for $175, which is what each of the townships paid. And I have a couple page description here. I'll just kind of highlight it here. We can do anything we want to do with that money, but we have to ask the taxpayers unless we're specifically going to spend it on a health related service or something. We have to go back to the voters and ask them how to spend that money. So just a little thing there. And again, I did email this to everyone, and I'm hoping you got everyone. You get that. Okay, Michelle, you got that one? Dude from the lawyer? Okay. And anybody that wants, a copy of this or whatever, I'm glad to provide it. Certainly, is important to everybody here. Okay, unfinished business, which goes right along with what we were just talking about. The conversion to 501c3, we have to decide. On February 5th, we're not going to have a choice anymore, but if we need to make a decision whether we want to be, the township wants to be included as an incorporator into the new 501c3 hospital. It's coming. If we don't, we won't have any voice. I don't know that we really have a voice anyway, but we'll at least have one member on the board, and we'll have a small say in what's going on. The new board is going to have 21 members. There's 12 townships in the village of Kalkaska. That's 13. And they will have 6 members at large, and there's a CEO and the CFO of the hospital, so making a total board of 21. And again, we will have one vote on a board of 21.
That's extremely important for somebody on the.
I agree.
So you have to vote on that before the 5th? We don't have another meeting before then?
No, we do have to vote on that, yes. We have to decide. I have the resolution right here, and I think I read you the whole.
We did that. I thought we were going to go over that at the budget meeting on the 4th, which is now, we canceled and we were gonna go Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know that the hospital has anything to do with our budget.
No, I just mean we talked about discussing it. On the
Okay,
4th.
okay. So does that mean nobody's, or are you interested in voting to incorporate or to be an incorporator?
Well, I think we have to have a seat at the table, but I'd like to know what that involves.
Mhm.
We currently have a seat at the table.
We have, yes, Greg Bradley is our
Yeah,
hospital. Yeah.
Said that he would step up to the plate. And we did that again.
Yes, and there's well, first of all, we have to vote to be an incorporator. Do we want to be an incorporator in the new hospital? My feeling is absolutely yes. Then we have to designate who on the township will be the signer for the 501c3, an incorporator, right? There's an individual that is designated as the signer for the original articles of incorporation. We have to have a person do that. Then we need to vote to appoint a member to be on the board that we're creating. Or actually, they are creating the new 501c hospital board. If you want to wait and discuss this at budget meeting, it'll kind of be crunch time. I'd be happy to, I go to hospital board meetings till I'm blue in the face, and I've collected a little bit of information. I'd be happy to share the PowerPoints and that I've received, if anybody wants to take a look at that or whatever. But we got to do it soon, because February 5th, we're going to be too late.
Probably.
Yeah, let's share that info.
Okay, yeah. All right, so the 18th will still be relatively.
It'll be fresh, but we'll
Mhm.
Let me ask this, so on the 18th, what time is our meeting, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
Okay, so is it 10 to 12, like, does someone have it rented at 12?
I believe so.
Oh,
I
okay,
believe so.
yeah,
But-
because that would be a better time, like, if we actually went over 2 hours, but if we can't, because someone else has the hall.
I'll take a look, I don't.
No. It might be,
How long is your presentation? That you have your PowerPoint?
well, I don't have the PowerPoint. I have the printout of it.
Of the PowerPoint?
Yeah. I got two of these if you guys want to just come You want to maybe glance at that, I can't.
Okay, is there something that you need back?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I have two of them, so I mean, you know. I don't need to read it again today, so I'll go ahead and.
How about if I bring it on Saturday?
Budget meeting sounds good, yep.
That's
And,
probably what you meant anyway.
yeah, and, just since, thank you.
See anything and go.
Oh, I don't think so.
This is the resolution that they're asking. Here's a copy of the resolution that they're.
Can I?
Yeah, bring it back Saturday, yeah, Saturday, bring it back.
So. If I understand this correctly, it doesn't have to be a board member. For the hospitals,
We need a board member.
one is outside, it can be roughly appointed, is that better here?
Yeah, it would have to be somebody from the board. I am like the township's legal agent, so. You know, I can't vote myself to do it, but I think it's,
Okay,
you know, probably the right thing to do.
is that something you wanted him?
Sure.
Oh, okay,
There's no, only, literally one meeting for the incorporators. They get together and sign it, and then there's a board that will form after where all the businesses.
Mhm.
And one meeting a year for the incorporators is all that there is, so. The other board meets monthly, no, for at least. I have a copy of the articles of incorporation for their 501(c)(3).
Saturday, that time.
Maybe it was the 9 o'clock one that we did because someone was coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we moved it an hour earlier.
So maybe we could allocate 30 minutes afterwards to go over it.
Sure. I would take that.
My Saturdays.
okay,
It's my Saturdays anymore.
All right, well. Then. After all that. Takes place, we're gonna have to. Probably have a special meeting and decide, you know, what it is that we wanna. And first of all, we have to negotiate that money from the hospital. They of course think that the best way to use that money is to give it to them. So, we have to negotiate that. They don't necessarily want to give it all up in one lump sum payment. They want, their idea was to pay 10% over 10 years, which I think is crap, you know. But we'll have to probably have a special meeting, decide how we want to spend or use that money and come up with some language to put on the ballot to create a, you know, do we want to spend it on improving our building, or do we want to buy property, or do we want whatever, you know, we have to figure out what we're gonna.
Maybe get a survey, maybe get some input from citizens in the township. To see what they would
Bad
like.
idea, yeah, not a bad idea. Somehow I misplaced my agenda. All right. Any other questions or anything on the hospital thing? No, it's confusing thing. It's literally, I don't know, I've probably been on to 6 hospital meetings and it's still clear as mud. They really don't have a,
Taxpayers is not being alone. Not anybody knew that they can use that credit. It was never, no, I mean, you got people. It's crazy that that's unavailable for how long?
Mhm.
And hardly anybody knew you.
Yeah. I agree. That was not very well publicized. They probably didn't want people to use it, you know. February 5th is the deadline. What's that?
Oh, as far as, I'm not sure the deadline for using that. Do you know when the deadline? Because I've had mixed, I've heard some people said, January, but then I've heard other people that were in the village that said that they've been able to do this. And you just take it up and they offset what you paid in taxes, whatever you owe them, which is really kind of nice.
And you can look up what you paid in the last 5 years. I think is it 4 or 5 years?
5 years,
5 years.
60 months.
Yeah.
So if someone does come in and ask for that, should we just get hold of you, and how do you want to coordinate that with the hospital? I know the one girl that used to work at the hospital. She's not working there anymore, that I used to talk to. Do you just send it to them, or how do we do that?
We don't get involved.
Yeah.
Just you're gonna
We
email
wouldn't
it
be
to
a
'em?
liaison, but if they wanted a copy, we would be able to,
Do they want a copy?
Online, they're all online, you can print them up online.
Yeah, but if they don't have internet,
yeah,
we're not able to do it.
send the calls to me.
Okay, there you go. You get there.
Yeah, just send the calls to me.
Yeah, because, and then what I would do is that you can send it to them, or, you know, in the mail.
Just send, yeah, just send the calls to me. And it'll be a person, because, I've had people that call that are definitely, you know, they want to write checks, they want to send an envelope, and they want
I'm
to
talking-
receipt.
I'm just talking about the hospital.
And I'm talking about the hospital, you know, anything that has to do with getting copies of what they paid, we can email online. They can download it to their, you know, computer, if they're computer savvy, we'll do paper, but I'd like them to
They
call,
have to go
yeah,
drop it off.
just call me and we'll go over it. I had one person, I talked her right through, paying her taxes on the and she's like, oh my gosh, I never even knew I had this. This is great. And then you have people that are not tech savvy and they don't want.
There's many people that don't have internet, they just have their cell phone, so I imagine it'd be hard.
Well, it would be really nice if we were to get some of that hospital money in the survey came through that we could get fiber optic.
Well, we've been discussing for years, putting a computer at the home for township, for citizens to use. To be able to set up an account, look on the SNA and do whatever, so, you know, if that's something that we can get going, then that won't be actually.
Well, it won't be going on for much longer. Where you can, so.
Yeah,
Just thinking those last minute people that want.
Right, they can just call me, they can just.
they're shooting for the end of June to be the 501c3 conversion, so.
Okay.
That's why we gotta be done by February 5th. Okay, we've already mentioned that we do have a budget meeting in this room on January 18th at 10 a.m. We also have an appointment. I'm not sure if we mentioned this at the last meeting or not, but the Board of Review members have to be sworn in every 2 years. And the people that are on there, Jewel and Kearney Moore, are willing to re-serve again for another period. They just need to be appointed by us. So I'll make a motion that we reappoint Board of Review members Jewel and Kearney Moore.
I'm the second in motion. I like Joel. I remember she worked in the office and, she was always, friendly, easy to interact with and got you whatever you needed. So, yeah, I'm a second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Um,
All right.
All right. Something that else we need to do here is establish our meeting dates for all of our regular board meetings for the next year coming. We actually have them approved through March, so rather than do a detailed thing right now, going through every month or whatever.
Okay.
perhaps at the budget meeting, I can have a list prepared of all the dates and any conflicts of holidays or whatever that may appear there. So just kind of put that on there to be on the radar so that we'll know that's something we need to do. Okay,
And if we kind of run out of time or short on it, we can push it to February if we got time, right?
yep, we still, our
So,
fiscal year runs to the end of March and we have a March date scheduled already, so as long as we figure it out before the end of March, we're good. All right, we are to new business. I have nothing under new business, but all ears if anybody has anything else.
Billy, did you have something that is in business that you wanted to discuss?
I have.
No, please do.
I am a dial business owner of Legal Faith Gymnastics and Movement Philosophy. I'm a resident of Rapid City for 10 years and mom of 5. I'm proposing to store gymnastics equipment in the corner of the Clearwater Township Board. I was a competitive gymnast for 15 years throughout my childhood and college. Dedicated and committed to spending 16 hours a week training. I would like to extend my passion for gymnastics to our youth in the Rapid City community. I have some pictures as well. Gymnastics is for the mind, body, and soul. Gymnastics creates foundational skills for youth to enhance physical and emotional well-being. We're partnering with other organizations. Leap of Faith would like to enrich the Rapid City community with leading others to have a better quality of life. Currently, Leap of Faith is partnered with 5 to 1 Great Start Collaborative, which serves families in Northwest Living and our partners. Over those 3 organizations. So 5 to 1 organization, a group currently at the school, Rapid Elementary School, to combine gymnastics movements with foundational literacy skills for ages 0 to 6. We're looking to change the location of these places and would like to host them at the Clearwater Township Board. Every child receives a free snack to take home at every playground. SEEDS is an technology and education nonprofit organization providing tuition-free after-school programming. I've had the blessed opportunity to teach gymnastics with SEEDS at Rapid City Elementary School for the past 5 years. North Lake Ministry provides place for families to connect and get resources practically, mentally, and spiritually. Leap of Faith has had the recent opportunity to create an obstacle course for the New Year's Eve kids party. And they have started offering free coffee on Tuesdays. So I welcome you all to join Tuesday mornings here at the Clearwater Schoolhouse. In addition, Leap of Faith has dedicated each Thursday 6 weeks during the 2024 Heritage Festival to set up gymnastics equipment, providing free space for children to participate and be engaged in the activity. It is my greatest desire to invest in the lives of children in the Rapid City community. I also believe it is important to normalize learning new skills as an adult with gymnastics, and I will teach anyone who is interested in this. The City Heritage Festival. It was outside for one of the Make Saturday gymnastics class if possible, 2 hours immediately set up with at least 2 hours. It takes the same amount of time to tear down. I was really united with my former teammate Patty, who is also a Rapid City resident, helped to set up and tear down and coach classes. I'd also like to recognize Joanne, who is also helped set up and tear down. Multiple parents have asked about maybe the store equipment in the township hall, and it's the first hand how much effort goes into the program. $200 a month to rent the Clearwater Township Hall to teach classes. If someone would like to book a private lesson or book a pay extra for the extended time, I'm willing to pay $20 a month to store equipment in the corner of the Clearwater Township Hall in approximately 8-foot by 12-foot space. I have liability insurance that Clearwater Township Hall has been added to this. In the future, I would like to offer scholarships for low-income families. I plan to add more classes, upward into classes for boys and girls, adult fitness classes, and other events for families to move and go together. I have served many families with children on the spectrum and other special needs, and I would like to provide a simply friendly space. I do my best to accommodate and be as inclusive as possible. As a high-level competitive gymnast, I also plan to have a future competitive team. And I'd like to continue to play the greatness of the community is most accurately measured by the compassionate action of its members. Together, we can do great things, and I would appreciate your support to help Legal Faith Gymnastics to grow by allowing equipment to be stored in the Clearwater Township Hall.
So what do you think about maybe a tarp or something? You think we could like just so that people won't pull that out thinking, hey, it's here, we can use it. That's
So if we do that for her, are we gonna do it for everybody in the community?
well,
So, yeah.
The line at the door, I got, walking into the store space and looking.
Well,
We did discuss that maybe in the future, maybe being able to utilize some money coming in to be able to maybe set up lockers where
Yeah.
maybe people can have a lock and they can store
but
their
the
things
storage
there.
underneath the stage doesn't work.
I didn't know that everybody in here was gonna discuss. I thought it was a word thing to discuss.
No, I'm just wondering, because the administrator is, an office administrator is the one that takes
But you
care of
sat
the
down.
rentals.
So I guess that doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm still here, honey.
But you
Okay,
sat down.
I'm
It's
here.
just the board.
I'm here.
But you're the only one who's been.
Well, with that
it's-
said, I would make a motion that I think that because this
You're
is a
very-
benefit to the community, that we should accept that offer and we should allow you to store the equipment, and if you can do it discreetly so that people don't pull it out and use it and the maintenance doesn't have to pick up and clean up afterwards. I'm all for anything that has to do with supporting the community, family and kids in our area. So I am motioning a yes, if anybody else would like to second that.
I'm gonna second that, because. I mean, if there is an issue, if other people say, how come she gets preferential treatment, or how come she's first or whatever, we can deal with it at that time. And this is.
I have had wrestlers that wanted to bring in mats and told them no.
Okay, well, like I said, we'll deal with it in a case by case scenario.
Okay.
Okay, and if it gets out of hand, we can tell everybody, hey, you know what, it's off. Everybody has to take their stuff out, it's not like this is set in stone and forever. So with that being said, I'm second.
So, yeah, so we have the volleyball people that they're going to bring stuff in.
Like I said,
Yeah, okay.
let's see what happens, okay, let's see
Well,
what
it's already
happens.
being left there, so.
Well, let's just see how it
It's
turns
the
out, if it doesn't work out,
township,
it
it's the
doesn't.
I have
township's
nothing
hall,
against
it's
Haley, I'm
the
just-
people's hall, it's not ours, we're only.
I know,
stewards of it.
but if you do it for one, you do it for all.
well,
Oh,
Good night.
okay.
I love what she's doing, I really do, but, you know, you make it difficult for the people that you leave in charge to kind of try to manage things, and you do it one for one person, not for the other.
That's why I
Right.
suggested the tarp so that there is no managing to it. There's no managing.
There's,
involved.
have you ever been there volleyball night? There's 15 kids run around there, and they don't watch their kids.
That's their responsibility. The
Right.
kids leave,
But
but they
then-
don't. Yeah.
Charlene, it's. my
Well,
wife,
we
that-
have a motion and a
Yeah.
second motion. Is
No,
everybody
that's
willing
Friday
to
night.
vote on it?
Friday nights, Jill.
Is everybody willing to vote on
I'm
it?
ready to vote. We're having a discussion, which I'm okay with.
I would like to add one little thing, and that is that we're approving this on a trial basis.
Can I, as a Parks representative, the Parks approved the ask initially of that, because we're not just parks, we're recreation too. That's why the parks got the volleyball and the pickleball and all that. What we need is something for the younger kids, not just the adults that can play volleyball. And it's been such a help for our Heritage Festival Committee, because it was frustrating, we were not
Yeah.
getting the young parents in because they don't want to hire a babysitter to come in. So she volunteered to come in, spend 2 hours every Thursday night with all her equipment and do that for the kids. It was wonderful. We want to get more stuff for the kids. I'm trying to get kids out to Heritage Park.
Okay,
It's the kids.
so we're gonna.
My only thought is, who is going to manage this? Without an office administrator, who is going to be responsible to manage this?
Well, the treasurer's office can take in the money and we can discuss sharing a calendar and setting that up.
Well, after the job description, there's gonna be.
Yeah, we're gonna be setting up job descriptions and the meeting, so.
There's a insurance thing.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
That's
so-
what you were saying? I'm sorry, about other people and all that. I don't know how many other people are gonna wanna do what she's doing, and, you know, offer a fee. We don't have to accept that fee, you know, we can make it more or less, or, I mean,
Oh,
what-
no, they would have paid a fee.
and they'll provide insurance and on their equipment like she did, like she did.
People do.
Okay, well,
People want to put it, bring them policy houses.
okay,
For their parties, and I tell them no, you know, it's with liability. But, you know, they have to get to the insurance, but, you know. You're gonna get more and more stuff in there, people hear about it, it's a small community, that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
I have no
well,
problem,
valid points.
yeah, and it is a shelter. If we have to put people in there, we got to pull with other equipment.
Just.
Yeah, that's okay.
So we don't problems.
Hey, election time, we're probably not gonna be able to do that, and there may be occasional other times, you know, when it's not gonna be possible or whatever.
Yes, my secretary.
So you can get all your equipment out and put it in the school or somewhere else.
And would you,
For special occasions, like when they did this fall during the elections, and also for the spaghetti dinner coming up in February. I'm going to have a school that Saturday.
Okay,
and like a 48-hour notice, didn't what would be?
Yes.
Okay.
and you know, the fee you're offering stays the same, even if you have to take your stuff out for an election or whatever, bring it in.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, we had you know, you motioned, I seconded, did we vote on it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, here's a picture of it stored. So Sergeant or Deputy Crichton just tried to call me. So I'm assuming he's not back.
Is there a reason why they can't be stored on the state? We should do this out when it's, you know, the code. They're not all up there.
But they go up there, you know, up there, they like to hide
Is that what I'm
it.
saying?
But that would be a good place for it, rather than the floor.
Jim, everything?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Actually, I think the stage would be more intrusive than just piling them in the corner. That's just my opinion, but.
And it's the far right corner?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you call it.
There's nothing there.
So we have I forgot who made the motion.
Me.
Okay, Michelle, and then
Yes.
Dave. Yes. Somebody have another pen here. We all not have pens today.
I know.
I just have a red one.
Okay, so we have a motion to allow Haley to store in a neat 8x12 approximately space in the southeast corner of the hall. Her equipment on a trial basis for the fee of $20
Per month.
per month. Okay, I was looking, yes, $20 per month. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So when someone else wants to bring equipment, you just want the new administrator, if you have one, to contact you first to get it approved.
I think what they should do is exactly what Haley did, come into a board meeting and present what they wanna do, and we'll discuss it.
In the meantime, I think we should, and I know we got a lot of policies to work on. But I think we should develop some type of a policy that will,
Right. I was gonna suggest that.
that's not a bad idea. Okay, well, it looks to me like this motion passed. So, I can't speak for anybody else, but I don't think anybody here has a problem with what you're doing. I think we're all behind you 100%. It's the well, what's good for one is good for the other, and the liability issues and that kind of thing that even brings it into question. So love what you're doing.
And you get all our ducks in a row with insurance and so on.
Yeah, and that would be another thing for us to work into the policy. You know, if you want to do it, these are your requirements, bare minimum, and then you'll still have options and, you know.
What happens if we have a tarp on it, come in and there's a mat or something missing?
There's cameras.
Or, yeah,
On the internet.
and they're insured.
Okay.
They're LLC, so.
Okay, any other new business anybody would like to share? We're a little over 2 hours.
I would like to mention that if there are kids running all over when their parents are playing volleyball, those parents should be addressed. Because that isn't a free-for-all for the kids.
Yeah, we don't have anybody problems in there.
The gym and the kids are in the gym floor, then the kids should have free run of the gym.
We got cameras to see,
Mhm.
that's what we need, we got it for.
So they run up on the stage behind the curtain and all that?
Yeah, they do.
They do?
They like to play back there. It's just a hot spot back up there.
Sure, okay, but there's nothing where they can get hurt back there, or they.
Fall off the stage.
That's what I'm saying, fall off the stage.
Yeah, I
They
asked,
can fall downstairs at home too, though.
asked the little girl.
Yeah,
if
so
she
we're
could
talking
get
about
down,
on our
jumped up the
property.
stage.
Yeah, they're too happy and probably can't see your parents.
Really, the curtain should come down and this high gate should be.
Here's
across
that
the
the
stage.
price.
Yeah.
Well, before, we've had Karen here waiting, can
Did you
you
get
let
on?
her give her public comment?
Good work.
We're just about to do public comment, closing public comment, so. Okay,
I just wanna mention with the cemetery, after entering all that stuff into PSNA, we need to find out how to acquire or to find the owners of plots that are deceased, owners that are deceased. There's a lot of them that still have empty lots available, lots of lots available, and the owners are deceased. So there's a lot of it, I mean, a lot, it's crazy that you're looking at, so we need to, there's a cemetery book, I think we're gonna have to get, I don't know if the attorney needs to be involved, but we have to go to the, yeah, there's a way to do it.
I've been working in the attic, as you know, clearing some space in there.
Much information.
I found an entire box that is just dedicated to the cemetery. And it goes back like to the original plot. It has probably a stack this thick of birth records and death records and all kinds of things. That probably a bunch of it needs to go to the health department.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to take, I'm probably gonna have to take a golf cart and my computer. And go into each headstone to verify, somebody wrote in cursive, you know, and I can read cursive, I am that old, but, yeah, there's just a lot of and a lot of dates that are not available, so, but the main thing is, we're talking about how many we have available yet, and that we need more. I gotta use for there's lunch.
There's a bunch.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll get that box out and,
I don't want
you know,
I don't want it.
okay, so we're not gonna close out public comments yet until we hear from our illustrious Mr. Crichton.
Sorry for being late to begin with.
It's no excuse.
Oh, it's not kind of stuff. But then sorry for running out. We ended up getting, stupid gentleman. Ended up being multi-county pursuit. He crashed out his car. And everyone that was in that vehicle is now in our jail. So,
Oh, wow. What county did the crash happen in?
Grand Traverse.
Okay.
Started in Kalkaska, went down to Boardman, west on Supply Road.
Oh,
They just don't know the area.
yeah.
They found the curves. So.
Yeah.
Then as far as my report, I kept it pretty short. December was kind of an easygoing month for me. I only had 6 complaints. Sheriff's office only had 33. As far as patrol, I kicked up a lot of patrol on around Lake Road, Mini Drag in Ryan City. I noticed after the snow started flying, a lot of people had to drive carelessly on those roads. So my presence up there, try to tail that. And then for the board, you'll see in bold down there, the roadkill deer topic. There's someone that reached out to our office, asked me, make a note about it at a township meeting. So if anyone hits a deer or knows anyone that wants a roadkill deer, you're welcome to take the deer, but you have to file the permit on our website.
Do you have to do that, like, you can take the deer and then file it, or do you have to do it first?
You can take the deer, put it in the back of your truck, take it home.
Okay.
Then we can file it.
All right.
I'd say get that done within a half hour after doing so. Really, just our officer pulls out, sees you with deer, and you don't have to permit it. So probably want to get that out of the way. We run into that quite a bit. If people want to take the deer home after they hit it. So. Get shot. If it's injured, it's not gonna live.
Take it out of the snowstorm?
Give it mouth to mouth. Addiction treatment services, I've kind of highlighted a little bit what has been told to me, but do you have anything you'd like to add?
I did pass out those cards to you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I briefly talked with Sergeant Lee on that tonight. It's not, someone can come to town and hand out Suboxone, nothing, no, it's not that. My understanding is if someone wants to use it, they have to be enrolled in counseling, a few other programs. And I think they mainly focus on some sort of injection treatment. I think Vivitrol, something like that. Apparently it's a fairly common one, helps easy need for alcohol relapse, drug relapse, the monthly injection. So, but there's merits to that too. People have to be enrolled in counseling and have to be shown that
I would like the presentation.
I was like the presentation.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about it. All I know it's just a couple things that got mentioned.
From who, from Mr. Weaver,
Yeah, I said addiction treatment services would come and give us a presentation of the whole.
Yeah, I think maybe wants to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't have that much info.
No.
The email changes, doesn't have that much.
You have regular contact with Mr. Beaver, you could tell him to get in contact with me to schedule that presentation.
Okay, yeah, I'll tell them that tonight.
All right, anything else?
No, not at the moment. As far as New Year's, Rhapsody was very quiet on New
I
Year's,
thought so too.
which is good.
Just sleep,
Yeah.
10:30.
In our office, we stopped the.
You guys know that I did have somebody that wanted to start an AA program or narcotic anonymous group. And they're asking about running this or the other gym, just to let you know, but they haven't gotten back to me.
Okay.
I thought you were worried about being close to the school.
What are you saying?
They haven't looked at this. I'll ask them.
Yep,
All right.
that's it.
Cool.
All
Thank
right,
you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good.
yep,
Thank you, you as well.
appreciate you coming back.
Oh, for sure.
All right, this is the last call for public comment.
You're, Karen? Good.
Are you on? Are you on?
Yes, she.
Okay, I talked to Michelle about what the initial issue was. Which was this little note on my tax receipt saying I can't get these anymore. She's assured me I can. I will have to call you to get copies of my last 5 years of tax bills because I'm a paper person and I'll do paper. I'm very tech savvy. I work 3 jobs, all 3 of them involve tech. I will not sign up for BSNA. So I don't want another password. I don't want another place that has my information that's going to get hacked. I already have to read. You can address the treasurer.
Yeah, you can come to
I
my
already did,
house.
just explaining why my initial reason to be here was. Okay. Wow. I was so excited about a new board, and this is the first meeting I've come to with the new board. Mr. Koss, I'm sorry I didn't know you at all. And my first impression wasn't great, and I hope what I'm seeing now, you're more relaxed. You're smiling here and there. I hope that's what I'm gonna see because you were clearly angry about something. I don't know what it was. I wasn't here. I hope it gets better. We need a board that works together, that accomplishes things for this community. I'm hopeful that you're all gonna do that. I hate seeing the infighting. I hope it all stops. Because that won't get anything done for those of us that elected you to be here. Okay? Thanks.
Dee?
Yeah, the balancing with the clerk, I just want to clarify, because it's both balanced with the bank. And I know that sounds important, which it is important. The part that needs to be balanced with the clerk, just so everybody understands, is we have sub accounts on top of underneath the umbrella account. And if those sub accounts are individually compared to the clerk, then the treasurer's report will be completely off. So it's not just balancing with the bank. So the numbers that you have today, she could meet with the clerk next week and the clerk has entered checks in the Metro Fund and it wasn't presented clearly to her. So now the Metro Fund's off and the general fund's off. So it is important that they meet at least once a month after the statements come out, just to clarify why that's important. Our money's there, right? Because the bank says our money's there. There's no money missing, but the treasurer's report will be completely off if there's not that sit down and balance do that.
Just
One
one quick, that meeting that you're planning with Christine is gonna fix that, so,
Yes,
okay,
So.
reconcile.
Gonna meet last night, but there was some confusion about meeting. I came to the township and she was thinking we're gonna go over by phone. So I went back home and gave her the information that she asked for. But I'd rather not wait till the 11th hour and maybe we could do it earlier, like a week before. So that if there's corrections or anything like that, that we have time. So that we're not like the last minute trying to figure those out. And I don't think it's like she did something wrong or I did something wrong. It's just QuickBooks. I mean, it's just the nature of that. It's not a funding software. So it just makes it a little bit more, difficult. And she's correct. We don't want any of the, any of those accounts off. So, yeah, I mean, that's important.
Continue.
The other thing is, on the expenditures report, KCI, it says under assessor, I don't know what that is for, I'm just wondering. What that is for, and then also the Sigma deposit on an expense report, I'm not sure why that's on there, it tells you have a negative $10,000 in spending. So your numbers are off with the expenditures on that report.
Which expenditure report?
The clerk's report.
The vendor thing?
Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have that, I did it. Yeah, the expenses by vendor,
Okay, yeah.
so under KCI. I don't know what, I'm curious what the assessor, why the assessor would be spending $1,348. For postage for KCI, what went out for that, the.
First of all, what is KCI?
KCI is who we use to send out our taxes,
Okay.
so that's kind of why I'm curious on that one, I mean, it could be something legit, I'm not saying it's not. And then also down at the bottom. The state of Michigan Sigma deposit, there's no reason for that to be on an expense report, the deposit for 43,000. That's a state shared revenue and it throws off, and nobody noticed this, I don't know why, but it throws off your total for expenses. We have a negative $10,000 expenses. So we're actually an income of $10,000 apparently instead of expenditures.
Because of that negative 43,000.
Yes, digital deposit, yeah. So I mean, that really shouldn't have been approved, I guess, without looking at that and wondering what those charges were and how they were. How they're on here. I don't know about any of the other stuff, but those I know about, so, I don't know why KCI would be having a assessor charge and. Anyways. And I guess that's it, because I already mentioned the hospital, I don't know what you do about that.
Any thoughts on that?
She says she's correct, their deposits, they're not.
Expenses.
Yeah, there was a deposit, that's why it's a negative, I mean, expected.
So that KCI could have been a reimbursement?
No, KCI is not, a KCI is an expense,
Okay.
I just don't know why the assessor would be spending $1,300 for postage through KCI. I mean, it could be legit, I don't know if it's board of review, but why would it be so much, that's almost how much we spend, I think, sending out taxes. Either it's accounted for, mischarted, or it's,
I'll look into it.
yeah.
When does the assessor, send out their notice of assessment?
I don't know, but that's, I mean, I don't know what the assessor does, that's why I'm
Okay,
asking.
yeah, okay, so I thought.
It could be.
That could be it.
That could be it.
It could be, I didn't know she used KCI for that, but it very well could be, I'm just curious.
Okay.
All right, is there any? Yes, Sue Kelly.
Just a quick question, I had planned on attending the budget meetings and.
I saw the letter you sent there.
Oh, did you, okay, so.
Well, I haven't read it, but I saw that you sent one just a few minutes ago, actually.
Saturday, and I have a family conflict, so I'm not able, and I put together a budget report, that I use for my own analytics. I'm a CPA, and I like playing with numbers and columns and rows and stuff. It's a sickness. And I had heard some of the board members at the past couple of meetings talking about a desire to reduce expenses. Whenever I'm looking at a budget report and trying to plan for something and to make reductions, I like to put together a report that might show that it puts together a trend. Perhaps something's going to be identified through a trend, something, a large number might fall off the page that will draw your attention to it. And as I finished that report, because I've got 3 or 4 years imperative, I thought maybe that would be beneficial to you all. I don't know what kind of budget reports you plan to use.
You emailed that to me and or to the clerk, and
I emailed it to Christine, but I didn't realize she was ill, and now I'm hearing that there's email problems, and so I don't know if you'd like me to email it directly to you.
well, actually, Margaret, didn't you? Yeah, we've already sent it out to everybody on the board, so everybody should have. It just happened like a couple hours ago.
Oh, okay, well, it may be there.
I'd be happy to drop off and Angie said if I dropped off something tomorrow, even though the office isn't closed. I shoved it under the door, they could put it in your box if you're hitting an email.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thanks for.
I will do that for you tomorrow. Does anybody else really prefer to have a hard copy?
I don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's two boxes.
So you're saying you have a report that for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like what we've been asking for, an expense report over the last,
Well, I use the audit report, like, I don't use QuickBooks, so.
yeah.
I'm always gonna use the audit report,
Sure.
because it's got that independent. review.
Right.
So, and it's just general fund, I don't go through any of the others, but I've got, 2021 through 2023 out there, and then I've done a couple of analytics just for my own review. I left them on there, and tried to kind of explain in the cover letter what they were for. If you don't find it helpful, toss it. It's just something that I use if it's helpful for you.
Very thoughtful.
And is it township expenses?
I'm sorry.
Is it township expenses or it's just like a generic? How do you do it? But it-
No, it's
It's-
Clearwater
Oh,
comparative
perfect.
for, I think there's 3 years. Maybe 2020.
That's
It looked like it's
24. So, yeah, I got 4 years.
perfect. We've been looking for 4 years.
And then,
So
yeah,
that's
so, and
perfect.
if after, I'm not gonna be able to be there on Saturday. It'll depend on.
We'll have another one in February, most likely.
But if there's something on there that you're like, man, if you could just show it this way. Let me know, and someone will get.
Appreciate that,
into
Sue.
me, and it's really easy to play with.
Mhm.
As far as the emails, I have a maybe short-term suggestion, is that maybe some hard copies be put in a file, in a box, so that everybody can make sure that you guys get that corrected,
Mhm.
you know that everybody's getting involved.
Good point. Good point.
Couple things, noting that negative $43,000 there and our end number here being roughly 10,000. It looks like our monthly expenses were more like about 33,000, so
That's what the clerk said it was gonna be.
yes, so that's more typical than what I thought earlier, and I didn't even notice that that said negative. That makes perfect sense now.
Person. Can I also address something? So at the MTA meeting that the treasurer and I went to, it was clarified and noted, number one, that checks written to the township for taxes are adequate for tax returns for the end of year taxes. It was also stated that we are not obligated to do receiving. It is also a expense for the township to do receiving, just for future reference when we discuss it. That's why it was discussed that we were gonna stop doing the paper receiving with even with the stamped envelope. It's also was suggested that we stop doing the postage date, because we've been having some issues with that, accepting postage dates. So that's gonna be discussed sooner or at some point. The amount of receipts that I get, that people want receipts, and sometimes they have 5 or 6 parcels on there, and then you accidentally miss one because of the way it has to be entered in. It's a lot more time and to do that, and it's a lot more expense for the township to do it. So it was a cutback. I mean, I go through reams of paper for stuff like that. So the whole idea of putting it online was to make that available. And so we can have a computer in the budget meeting, have a computer available, but it's not an obligation for the town.
We also need a printer there for people too then.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other public comment before we close this puppy?
I would suggest you come and have coffee, It's been a while, but I just have one thing, and it's kind of a spin-off from what Karen had said. And with a new board coming in, there has been some, animosity that I really don't understand, but I want to address. The last meeting, and we weren't at the last meeting, and inappropriate stuff was brought up at the meeting. My deputy was called a liar, and she was accused of harassing people. And we really just want to focus not only on the board, but making things very efficient and be good stewards of tax monies for the community. So we're not looking to battle with anybody. And I really, personally, I'm very sorry that that happened publicly, because I work with you and you are great at what you do and you are an awesome human being, and I trust you. And I'm really sorry that that happened. That's really unfair for you to be called out and called bad names. And we're gonna be a good team.
I hear nothing, so I guess I need to. Motion to adjourn. All in favor? We'll get it. Well, that's good. I appreciate that. Thank you. It helps.
So I will see you at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock Saturday.
Listen, Karen.
So do we want to move into these so that we have them?
This is the pictures and stuff for,
Yes.
yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. Where did the copy of that agreement go?
Oh, free.
Oh, now
You don't want that back, right? Yeah, go ahead. And put it. See, copy right there. This is our copy piece.
I mean, if it's all friendship, you know, it should be different, but like in general, the general public, you know, how many of those like.
Yes.
And how much,
So they told me.
So for her to talk to me, like.
No. Because like I worked out it.
Different, you have those 3 days, they all come.
Yes.
And then mine was the mail and then one.
Well, she is a friend of mine, and I will.
And, you know, it's not necessary. So.
But I
did
did,
and started.
or she's a friend.
Yeah, for her to look at me and like,
So that.
I mean, I know I asked them it, because I see how many through.
I have a friend that operates a company that, in Kalkaska, it's called Life Clinic. Are you familiar with him? He has a yoga place, but he does that addiction treatment stuff. He's got more letters behind his name than, yeah. So he's got every certificate for counseling that they probably do. But they have like 7 doctors that they work with that provide the prescriptions, and we have to have a doctor working with every patient, you know, to provide the methadone, vitriol stuff. But get one of these cards, I'll get it to her. If she's interested, she probably.
Should we try sessions as well? Church, I don't know if that would be. Yeah, that they could send.
Yeah, it's too bad. Well, it's not bad.
There's not, I got.
Unfortunately, the school.
She can bring them in on
Because
Monday,
I think there'll be a lot of.
I got to ship for my mom.
I'll see you.
Addiction treatment center right next to the school.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna.
So I'll just bring them that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
So, are we, we're done with our meeting?
Yes, I ended it.
Okay.
And me, bro, I was to end.